Okay, yes, Edo State people, greetings to you, and Nigerians across the world, greetings to you all. This is the Comrade Show, and my name is Comrade Lamte Oriahin. We woke up to the news this morning, of course, that all tablets in Nigeria, they've carried the news that the governor of Edo State, Governor Obaseki, has ordered the arrest of Adams Oshiomole. This is a very much directly in connection with the mayhem, the sad story that took place in Edo State yesterday. For many of you who may not be aware, Edo State was totally locked down yesterday by protesters. Banks were destroyed, some persons were killed, many people were injured. It's in fact, it was a serious state of anarchy in Edo State yesterday. The mayhem was too much. The hardship is exceptional. Has even increased right now. The danger of this to the future of Nigeria is so high, and that there is no way we can stand aloof without, say something about this. Just a couple of days ago, I did make a broadcast, to call for the immediate arrest of Adams Oshiomole. But just to give us a perspective into this, let me just give some insight into the level of wanton destruction that we experienced yesterday, the terror that took place yesterday, the fear and the grief that the Edo State people felt yesterday, highly unprecedented, irrespective of whatever the policies of the federal government is. That this should happen in Edo State is a matter of concern. And of course, the government, I would say, have a right, to think, particularly acting on, superlative intelligence, that what happened yesterday did not happen in isolation, did not happen because the people were angry. It happened because some human beings planned to execute what happened yesterday. But I'll tell you why. But let's just see some of these excerpts.
Reporting live from Moru Junction. Access Bank is on fire. They don't enter the bank. They don't enter the bank. They don't enter Access Bank. Boys don't enter Access Bank. They don't enter Access Bank. Oh, boys don't enter. Boys don't enter. Boys don't enter. Oh boy, not go there. Oh. Total destruction. Oh God. Police come. Police run. Army come. Army don't run. Go back. Access Bank.
See you. See you. They go break our door. Iyo, Baba go to Eposo. Bring the coffee down. Jesus. They don't break our ghetto. Jesus.
Well, that's just an excerpt of some of the terrible scenes of yesterday. Okay, let's try to make sense of this whole situation right now. The destruction is wanton. There is no doubt about it. It was purely targeted at banks, majorly POS operators. As a matter of fact, there are reports that not less than 3 persons died yesterday in Edo State because of this. So let's put some of these things, in perspective and put them on a scale. Why were these protesters protesting? Who are these protesters? What is really the reason that they are protesting? We are not unaware of the fact that currently the policy of the federal government on currency exchange is one that has created some difficulty around, not just Edo State, around Nigeria. But the question is it just the people of Edo State that are the ones alone that are feeling the brunt of this policy? No. Now, can we really say that the protesters yesterday, they are all Edo State people who are suffering the same way other Nigerians are suffering from this policy? Definitely not. But what we can put together, looking at some of the images that have emerged, is that it's increasingly looking like it is a carefully planned act to take place the way it did, because the boys were moving from bank to bank. They were moving from bank to bank. It was not just like an isolated case. It was not like some people were attacking banks at Akpakpava and some other people were attacking banks at Ugbo and some others at Textile Miro. No. The same group of people were moving from place to place and carrying out this destruction. Now the question is Governor Obaseki right to call for the arrest of Adams Oshiomole just now? I think that's where we are going to. Because the issue right now is that the governor of Edo State, who is the chief security officer, of Edo State, acting, I believe, on superlative intelligence, has now asked the commissioner of police and, of course, the security apparatus of states to immediately arrest former governor Adams Oshiomole and call him for questioning on this issue. Now we are going to go to that point. What APC as a political party and the leadership of APC, they are doing right now to Nigeria. And I'm going to tell you what the permutations are and what actually is going on. Because many of us are just, out there saying what we are saying, acting along with the wind, not really understanding that there are people who have stayed in their own, comfort zones to direct the direction of the wind. And so we are just, calculating, making permutation based on what we see. But everything we see, okay, we are being made to see them because they are carefully orchestrated. And there is a reason, there is a goal, which is why this is very important, which is why we cannot afford to stand idle on this matter. Because as we speak, the hardship in Edo State has just increased. As we speak, today I've called, people in Edo State, no bank is working in Edo State. At least prior to this whole discussion, people were still able to access some money from the bank, to the extent that, some banks pegged a figure based on the scarcity of the new Naira notes, peg certain figures that they give out to customers daily. At least something was still flowing. And we've had a promise from the federal government of Nigeria, from the CBN, that in the next 1 week, at least 1 trillion Naira new Naira notes will be available for the banks. Right now, the banks have been destroyed in Edo State. So even when this money become available, where are the banks to dispense this money to the people of Edo State? Another question is, the destruction of the banks, how does it sort out the problem that is on the ground? How does it solve the issues? How does destroying banks make life better and more meaningful for Edo State people, most especially? Because right now, this my focus of this discourse is on Edo State. Now, they know that definitely destroying the banks, is not an answer. It does not provide any answer whatsoever. They know. But what they also know is that if they are able to create mayhem, if they are able to make Edo State ungovernable, if they are able to create issues like this for Edo State, there is the chance that this election would be postponed. And that right now is their aim. That right now is the aim. Not just the aim of Governor Adams Oshiomole, not just the aim of the protesters you see, protesters that we can almost, based on intelligence, almost assume that they were acting based on instructions given to them, and they were paid to act and do whatever they are doing right now. It remains to be seen how much investigation is going to go into this, and what we are going to be and what we are going to hear from investigations going into this. But for the governor to call for the arrest of Adams Oshiomole is not definitely unconnected, with the fact that the governor himself has acted on intelligence, to understand that these things are not just in isolation. They are carefully planned out, and it can easily be assumed that Oshiomole is one of those who probably may have, carefully planned this out. Now, a few days ago, I personally raised an alarm, about 3 days ago, when Oshiomole, meeting with, members of his APC team in Edo State, hierarchy members of his APC team, issued and said that Edo State people should be intimidated. He further went ahead to talk about Obi. And for us, and to see somebody like this, whose words are policy to a number of people, who issue statement, and that statement can be carried out hook, line, and sinker by followers who love him, to issue such statements captured on video. So some of us felt that, man, this was a very huge danger sign. It was a red line that should never be crossed by anybody that at least has attained that level of influence over people. Now, that happened 3 days ago or so. Yesterday, just 2 days after, there was wanton destruction of property, there was killing, there was injuries made on people, and all of that. And therefore, what would you want somebody like the governor of Edo State to think, or somebody like myself or other people? Particularly again, when we have it on good intelligence that the people carried out this, this whole, mayhem. They were just the same group of people who were just moving from place to place, targeting banks. We are going to come down to, some of this, the nitty-gritty of this matter, so that we can collectively make sense out of this. The reason why I'm making this broadcast, let us be very clear. Let's be clear. Election is just a few days away. And we know already that there are challenges to this election. Huge challenges, there's no doubt about it. The government of Nigeria has come up with this monetary policy to say that the old Naira notes have become illegal. Unfortunately, the availability of the new Naira notes, we can't really see it. So the people are suffering. There's no doubt about it. There is the push by well many Nigerians to say, okay, look, we cannot interfere with the policies of government. If the federal government deems it necessary to change the Naira notes, of course, it's within the prerogative of Mr. President and of course the CBN as the principal regulatory body of our monetary policies and every other thing to come up with policies like this, as it were, if it is good for the country. Well, it is within their prerogative. But when many Nigerians are now saying that, look, the old Naira notes have been invalidated. Okay. But make available new Naira notes. That is where, the shortcoming of the federal government is, as far as this matter is concerned. But just a couple of days ago, the CBN announced that within this week, they have flooded the banks with 1 trillion more new Naira notes. Which means that this hardship, if what they are saying is true, it meant that this hardship, has an expiring date. But it remains to be seen. We are waiting for that to happen. In the midst of this, some people had gone to, the Supreme Court, some governors who are very much opposed to the idea that, the old Naira notes should be invalidated. Now, there is something that is many of us are looking at like, man, this is not a coincidence. Looking at the nation, the people who are most opposed to the policy of these new and old Naira notes happen to be the APC, members. And meanwhile, the policy of the new Naira notes, and the old Naira notes being validated, is the policy of the APC as well. Now the question is, APC has put us in so much hardship. APC is equally the one that appear to be orchestrating mayhem over the same hardship that they have put us Nigerians. The rest of us, we are trying to manage and weather the storm. We are trying not to despair. And yet the same APC appear to be the ones orchestrating mayhem across this country. Now, when we talk of APC right now, we are looking at APC as the presidency sitting today, and of course, a presidential hopeful in Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, why one is trying to make policies, is making policies that is impacting hugely on Nigerians, in the most difficult sense. The other one and his team, they are attacking the policy being made by the person they have put there as the president of Nigeria. Now, it gets us very confused. The ordinary Nigerians. And some of us, with all due respect, we appear to be carried along with the wind. When it blows this way, we go. When it blows that way, we go. The truth of the matter remains that the direction of the political wind just now in Nigeria and of course Edo State is not just on its free will. It is based on how the political class want to direct it. But some of us refuse to get along with the wind. And that is why this broadcast is very key. Because what is happening in Edo State, what happened in Edo State yesterday, that has made the governor of Edo State call for the arrest of Oshiomole has different strands to it. But we're going to try to analyze some of these strands. One, there is the Bola Ahmed Tinubu factor. First, that is been established is the President Muhammadu Buhari and the CBN factor, which is that the policy of the new Naira notes, many of us have come to see, and even Buhari has talked about it, that he doesn't want people who have stashed money away to use that money to compromise this election by buying votes and doing all sorts of things that money can do to compromise the people's will. Now, we understand that. And some of us have equally come out to appeal to Nigerians to say, look, it's difficult time, there's no doubt about it. But in just over a week, this difficulty probably would have been surmounted and Nigerians would have been climbing out of it, embracing a new style, as it were, embracing a new future. So we are appealing to Nigerians on that. Because if changing the new old Naira notes to a new Naira, to new Naira notes can help to protect our democracy, if it can help to protect our elections, many of us support the idea. We support it wholeheartedly. However, this policy doesn't seem to go down well with the political money bags. And so the APC members who are campaigning with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, people like El-Rufai, people like all the spokespersons, like Oshiomole, they've all been attacking this policy to say the federal government must allow the new Naira notes. So they have got the old Naira notes. So they have equally gone to the Supreme Court to ensure that they seek injunction. And don't forget, these are very powerful people in our society. And all they are now trying to do, for them not to use the old Naira notes that they already have stashed away, for them not to use those old Naira notes, they must now act in a way that this election will be compromised. And that's exactly what is playing out right now. And that is why I am not surprised when somebody like Galadima would come out, to tell the world that some governors have stashed away billions of naira in their private houses. Those monies are not in the bank. The CBN governor came out to announce to Nigerians that Nigeria was supposed to have not less than 4 trillion naira in circulation. Before this policy of change of new naira note came, Nigeria had less than 2 trillion naira in circulation. And upon the announcement that the old Naira notes is going to be validated As we speak, nearly 4 trillion naira is now in circulation. People have now brought back a lot of money into the banks that had been hiding away, hidden by politicians, and all of that. Let us hear a word from Galadima about this, because you get to understand exactly what is playing out with this matter. Let's listen to Galadima a bit.
The government said they are doing this because of amassed wealth, all the currency in their private houses. Agreed.
You agree with that?
I agree.
How?
Because I know that there is a governor in the northwestern part of this country that has got, from intelligence,
Yes.
has got about 22 billion naira of the old currency.
What? Engineer?
22 billion of the old currency stacked in his house. As I speak,
governor in the...
a governor in Northwest.
Will you blow the...
No,
Okay.
no need. He knows himself.
And you know that he knows himself?
Yes, and the security agencies know.
But why are they not talking?
Because maybe they belong to the same club. Or they are protecting him.
Or maybe they set a trap for him, I don't know.
Well,
Anyway, that's Galadima, making very serious allegation right there, and all of that. Now, that story, we can't be surprised about it. Of course, it's the Nigerian story. It is the Nigerian tragedy. Now, that is on the part of, what's it called, Buhari's factor. On the part of Tinubu's factor, like I was explaining just now, they've been pushing seriously to ensure that the CBN government, the governor jettison this idea of changing, the old Naira note to the extent that even the National Assembly embarrassed this nation by debating this. Don't forget, the National Assembly is made up of APC members and PDP members. All the craze has been, they must give allowance because they are all guilty of this sin. They have a lot of money stashed away that they cannot publicly declare. Because even bringing the money out right now, there are conditions that will immediately give you a way to the EFCC. So when you look at it, in one very beautiful way, this is a policy that is good for Nigeria and for Nigerians. But this is not good for the 1% of Nigerians who have been troubling this country, who have held the political space spellbound. Now, for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it is desperation that he must become president, and therefore everything must be thrown at it. All the money stashed away, several trillions of naira. In fact, I had it on very good intelligence that they are willing to buy each voter for not less than 30,000 naira. For anybody willing to vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu in areas where it's not popular, they are willing to spend as much as 30,000 naira for each person. With this policy, it becomes a problem. That becomes not feasible because those monies will not be valid on the day of election. So what are they not doing? That is why I suspect that Oshiomole had this meeting where he made these declarations. Let's take a listen.
We can help and do better.
Exactly.
His one voice is a minority voice. So that's why I'm concerned about. And even if in 10 minutes, let's go out. You see, we have to intimidate. See, this is a group. This is another thing.
Intimidate!
Chambers, we have we can help and do better.
Exactly.
His one voice is a minority voice. So that's why I'm concerned about. And even if in 10 minutes, let's go out. You see, we have to intimidate. See, this is a group. This is another thing.
Now, as he was going into this very exclusive discourse with his lions and tigers, as the case may be, he used the word intimidate, and we later heard obedience cannot. This is a do, and we can put it together to say that the obedience needs to be intimidated to submission. Now that appeared to be like an isolated incident. Remember, Oshiomole is a high-ranking officer of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu campaign. He's a former governor of Edo State, a former Labour leader, a former national chairman of the All Progressive, the APC. Now, why it look like, oh, maybe this is Edo State? Lo and behold, a similar kind of body language is coming from Lagos State. In fact, one audio went viral from a place called Etiosa local government area of Lagos State, with some human beings issuing similar threats to electorate because they are owners of the land, intimidating people to vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, threatening that there will be consequences if they don't prove that they have voted for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let's take a listen to this audio just for a bit. Then we come back. Well, we're trying to make sense of this situation. I want to tell you what we suspect has led to the wanton destruction in Edo State, and the need why all Edo State people must join hands in the call for the likes of Oshiomole to be arrested. Take a listen.
I know that some of you may not be voting, but you'll be voting in different other places. For you to continue to do business here, we must see who you voted for. We must see it, yo. We must see it. And when you are voting, you have your phone. You can snap the party you voted for. It's a secret ballot. You collect you do your bimodal, you take your card, you vote. When you vote, snap what you where you voted for. If you did not see APC there, you are in trouble. We will fight. Tell your daughter to snap it for you. Yes. I don't know, but what we are saying, this is not a threat. Let me tell you, it's not a threat, so we are telling you the facts. If you think you want to do your own way, do it. We are not agreeing with you. It's not a threat. So wherever you are doing your business, you are able to feed your family, your wife, and send your children to school. Whatever they do in that place, you have to do it.
Anyway, let me not belabor us too much with all of that, But that happened in Lagos almost simultaneously at the same time. About the same time, Oshiomole was having this meeting and asking his people to intimidate them. Now, what the plans are, we cannot exactly say. But this having happened, okay, this meeting up, by Oshiomole and his team, just barely 48 hours after, we are now seeing things like this. Honestly, it calls for serious, questions and all of that. And the pattern with which this thing took place is one that is of even bigger concern. It is not like a protest where the entire state was engulfed in protest. Everybody was speaking the same language. This thing was carried out by a few people that were moving from place to place. Apparently, some innocent people who don't even know what the game plan is would have just joined in along the way. They understand that. That is where this is so painful. It is more so because in Edo State is volatile. Since the 2020 elections where Obaseki won the election, there's not been peace in the land. I mean, for some time coming, the governor has been in the news, for, when I mean news, I'm not talking about mainstream news, but social media news. The voices against the governor has increased. Apparently, we are not unaware of the antics. People under Oshiomole or the APC wanting to capitalize on every weakness in the system, to drag, the governor into, some kind of dance. Unfortunately, I don't know how much the governor is looking after himself, because the last time I checked, the people who were supposed to, anchor the social media, warfare on behalf of the governor, so to speak. I use the warfare not in a negative sense, but to to help put some records straight, they appear to have deserted the governor and his government. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so but that is a story for another day. But today, you hear more stories about, oh, Governor Obaseki this, Governor Obaseki that. This is a clear example of such. Okay? Under the guise of this same Naira, this thing. Naira exchange. Let's take it. Now, this happened as part of the protest against the Naira policy, the new Naira policy and every other thing. I looked at this, and the question I asked myself is that, you know, whether I agree with Obaseki on many of the things he's doing or not, I honestly don't see how Obaseki has influenced the new Naira policy, you know, to make people hide under the Naira policy, to, you know, to call out Governor Obaseki, as it were. I don't see it. You know, but it's all part of the game plan. Make Edo State ungovernable because there's a carryover acrimony from 2020. So when the Edo State is ungovernable, election cannot, you know, be seen to be taking place in Edo State. And right now, if the federal government would not change, reverse the policy on the Naira, old Naira notes, they probably prefer that the election does not hold. Now, what they have done now in Edo State is to make the people of Edo State rise against the government of President Muhammadu Buhari so that INEC can further declare that it is not safe to organize election this time. And we are only going to be victims if we play along with them. We will be victims if we play along with them. So for the generality of Edo State people, we must do our best to look at this matter like some television movie just playing in our front, but not taking part in this scripted arrangement. Now, another thing as a focus is this. When this protest was taking place and these guys were destroying, they were doing and undoing, there was no security presence anywhere apart from the central bank along Akpakpava. That was the only place protected. Every other place was left to be on fire. Now, I can tell you that based on the intelligence we have, these people, they have used their power to ask the security operatives to allow these things to roll. Now, we cannot independently verify this, but we have the police, we have the military, okay, saddled with the duty of defending the Nigerian people and protecting lives and property. This whole thing went on for the whole day, and there was no security presence to deter these young people from doing what they are doing. And therefore, witch fly for night, pikin die for money. We they look for excuse? Oshiomole had a meeting where he asked his people to intimidate Edo State people. 48 hours later, we are seeing all of these things, attack on banks that will not provide solution to the issue. Rather, it will compound the issues for all of us. Fellow Nigerians, Edo State people most especially, I feel honestly very sad because right now as we speak, today is very likely that nobody's going to get a dime out of any bank. None whatsoever. because of what we have caused. Now, even when Naira becomes available, it may take time for these banks to be able to put their structures in their institution together, replace those equipment that have been destroyed and every other thing. And who is going to suffer? Edo State people. Edo State people. Which is why I think that Edo State people, no matter what it is at this time, we must use our tongue to count our teeth. What you are saying, very strongly, we have reasons to believe that these things are not just coming because of people just want to be irate. They just want to go about killing, destroying. No. These things were programmed. They were carefully thought out. They were planned. And which is why I personally joined the governor of Edo State, once again, to intensify effort as the chief security officer of Edo State. Intensify effort to get former governor Adams Oshiomole arrested, questioned, and investigation should be carried out. And those boys that came out to do all these things, they should be fished out. And let us get to the root of this matter. For obedience, there is no thing taking place here. There is a game to make available the old Naira notes, make it active on election day so that they can use it to change everything. If it doesn't happen that way, they want this election not to hold. And so Nigerians, the breaking news is that it is very likely that this election will not hold as planned. Because as we are looking at it right now, they have sponsored pockets of violence across different parts of the nation. As the day go by, whether Naira becomes available or not available, you are going to see, this is from intelligence, very classified intelligence, you are going to see more violence. And that may further make President Muhammadu Buhari trigger that clause in the constitution to make him say Nigeria is not safe enough for election to take place. An election will be postponed. And if care is not taken, there may be interim government if we are not careful at the end of Buhari's tenure. And that will further compound the problem of this country. And the only reason why this is going to take place if it is allowed, because Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his clan, his apologists, they have amassed so much wealth that they can dictate whatever is going to happen in this country. Even the Naira note that's available to the banks, Nigerians are not seeing it because the bankers are under strict instruction to limit how much to give out to Nigerians, even though they have a lot more, but they've been asked based on authority from above to ensure that they starve Nigerians of currency. That's exactly what is going on. So whatever you are seeing right now is orchestrated by APC. Whatever you are seeing right now is a legislation by APC, carried out by APC, executed by APC, and of course, whatever the fallout is going to be is still a matter that the APC is very much involved in. And that is why, again, I repeat that Oshiomole must be arrested, until it's cleared of wrongdoing in connection with what we are seeing right now in Edo State. I feel sad, I feel sorry, but let us put at the back of our minds that even though we don't desire it, the truth is that the aim right now is to see that this election gets postponed. Because when there is no peace, there can't be elections. And right now there is no peace. The issue of Naira, the currency, this thing is a matter that we can manage and endure. At least people are already getting small Naira notes here and there. With the government promising that within a week, $1 trillion Naira new notes will be available for the Nigerian public. Come on. It's so sad, it's so painful. I stand with the governor of Edo State on this, very strongly so, very, very strongly so, and I hope that all of us, the rest of us, will use our tongue to counter our teeth. Meanwhile, while they are doing all of this, incoming, hopefully, President Peter Obi is all about campaigning. He had a massive campaign in Edo State, in Edo Central, yesterday. It was massive. The whole world came gathered. But in Benin City, people were asked to start destroying things, and that's what happened. That's what played out. Nigerians, let me not belabor us too much. This is where the situation is. Please share the broadcast if you could. It would be nice. Share this broadcast. Let's get it around. You understand? It's just so sad, my people. It's just sad. It's been a comedy show, and I still make a laptop on Saturday. The show is ongoing, and the show must go on.
This is Comrade Show with Comrade Lante Oriente. This is the Comrade Show.